Hi everyone, welcome back. In this lecture, we will be covering basic syntax of a select statement. So what's exactly a basic select statement looks like. So once you know the basic syntax, you can also create complex queries, the schema of a table. So what's the concept of a schema? Connecting to a database. So what all various ways are available to us. So that we can connect to a database. Then we will see a demo, how we can select data from a table. And then we will see another demo how we can select all the columns from a table using the star. Then we will see pros and cons of using a star, and finally scripting out all columns of a table. So now let me open the SQL Management Studio, okay, and type the basic syntax of a select statement. Select column name 1, column name 2, column name 3. So this column name 1, 2, 3 means it all depends on the columns we want to retrieve from the table. From that, and then from the source. So in this case, my source is a table, a database table. So I will write schema dot table. The concept of schema we will be covering in a short while. So this is my basic syntax. Now we need to learn how we can connect to our database, so we can run queries against our database. So for this course, we are using the AdventureWorks 2012 database. So there are two ways available to us to connect to a database. Firstly, what you can do is you can select the database from the available database drop down. So I can select simply AdventureWorks 2012. And another option available to us is, let me just reselect the master database. On the query window, you can type use followed by your database name. So in this case, it's AdventureWorks 2012, and then execute this. So there are three ways of we can execute this. One is that clicking on this execute button. Another one is clicking on the F5, and third is doing a Control E. So now we are into our database required for this course. Let me just contract all this. Okay, so this is my database folder, and it contains what all databases are available on this instance. So there will be some system databases, and these all databases we will cover in the different track, that's a DBA track. So AdventureWorks 2012 as our course database. I will expand this node. So now let's cover what exactly a schema is. So means when I expanded this tables folder, you can see what all tables we have available, right? And then you see there's an human resource dot department. So human resource is my schema, and department is my table name. Similarly, we have persons dot address. Persons is my schema, and address is my table name. And let's see another example what all other schemas are available. So this is a production. Production is our schema, and product model is the table name. So now let's try to understand what exactly the concept of a schema is. So suppose this is my database, and it contains tables. Let me draw some tables, rows and columns. So another way means, while I'm sketching this out, you can think of a table. Means the best way to imagine a table is, means that's a common application I'm sure you must have used. That's an Excel spreadsheet. So it contains rows and columns. Similarly, in database also, the information is stored in that same format. That's rows and columns. So these are some of my tables. Let me quickly sketch some more. Now what I do, I have created 4 containers. Okay, just for example. So what I'm trying to do is that I'm relating all the related tables in the same container. So suppose this container is for the HR, and this is for employee, so it actually makes sense so that we can relate all the columns that has information related to HR in a single container. So grouping them together, and what all tables have the same similar information, again grouping them together. So same what we did here. So you see here, this is a HR as a schema, and all the information related to HR has been grouped in the human resource schema, human resource department, employee department history. So that's what a generic means, in general terms, what a schema means. Now let's select some data from a table. So what was my basic syntax of a select followed by a column name. So columns are there in the table. I will expand this node again, and you will see this is a column folder. I will expand this again. Okay, so human resource department contains 4 columns: department ID, name, group name, modified date. So this is my primary key, and this concepts we will be covering later in the course. So to select data from this table, we have 2 different approach available. One is that I can manually type the name of the column followed by a comma, then group name from human resource department. The other way available to us is, means if you don't want to manually type the column names, you can simply drag them on the query window. Then do a from again, and then you can also manually type or drag this up, and then you can execute this query. Here are the results. Now you see it retrieved us 16 rows, and let's see what's there in the messages tab. So it should be same 16 rows. Okay, now let's see a demo what exactly a select star is. Now I'm doing a select star from my table name. Now just see what it do. So it actually retrieved us all the columns present in that table. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is kind of a shortcutting. You don't want to manually type the column names. We can use a select star. Now there are some pros and cons of using a select star. Firstly, we just saw that this is a shortcut to select all the columns from a table. We didn't have to manually type, so it reduced our efforts, right? But now imagine we are in a production database, and that database contains over 1 million records, and we just require only 2-3 columns data. Now we are doing a select star, so there's a lot of overhead we are doing, right? And another thing is, suppose that database is in a production environment. So in production, that's a live database, client facing database, and over that we are doing a select star, so it's not considered as a good practice, right? In this concept of a filter also, we need to minimize the rows we want to retrieve, because all the million rows we won't be requiring, right? There would be some specific information we are looking for. So there is a concept of a filter in SQL, and we will be learning that concept later in the course. Now there's another side effect, con of using a star, is that we should avoid. So suppose we are generating a report from a table, and we are using a select star, and that report is displaying what all columns are present in that table. So in that report we created certain placeholders or column mapping, means from which column we are going to display the information. Now you have a requirement and you added in another column in the same table. Now that report, you're using a select star. So there might be some scenario that report is not able to dynamically handle the additional column. You just add it. So a report will also fail. So some applications can also fail if you're using a select star, then you added a column or removed a column. So there's a lot of cons related to select star. So in practical real world, select star should only be confined to a development or SIT environment. It's a test one, means even in test you shouldn't be using, but development yes for sure, and production never ever. So we just understood the concept of using the select star. Now let's see how we can script all the columns so here we had to manually type the column names or drag them from the available columns. So another option available to us is that SQL Server Management Studio helps us out to script those columns. Now go to that table, same table, right click, okay, and then go to script table as select to. So we are doing a select new query editor window. Simple as that. So then it's on you. You can remove some columns if you don't want the result set for them, and then execute it. Simple. The process of retrieving information from column by column is known as projection in T-SQL standards. So that's all for this course. Thank you everyone for watching this course. And you have any doubts or questions, you can send an email to learnwithfun123@gmail.com. Thank you.